Sebastian? Are you in here?
What happens when a man gains the power to be invisible? Instead of using it for good, he turns it into a weapon to fulfill his darkest desires. Stay with me till the end for this shocking story, and before we begin, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Inside a top-secret military research lab, a rat sneaks into a cage searching for food and water. But instead of finding anything to eat, it becomes prey to an unseen predator. The invisible creature only reveals itself when the rat's blood stains its sharp fangs. Meanwhile, Dr. Sebastian Caine is working late in his apartment, trying to perfect a formula that can reverse the process of turning a subject invisible. While taking a break, he spies on his attractive neighbor across the building as she changes clothes. His excitement quickly turns to frustration when she shuts the blinds, cutting off his view. As he paces around the room, inspiration strikes, and he finally cracks the breakthrough. Excited, he immediately runs the test on his computer and calls his colleague and ex-girlfriend, Linda Mackay, to share the discovery. During their video call, Sebastian notices a man lying on Linda's bed and pointedly asks who it is. Linda quickly shifts the camera, reminding him that her personal life is no longer his business. After showing her the breakthrough formula, Sebastian instructs her to call their teammate Matt Kensington and prepare the gorilla Isabel for a live test. After the call, Linda wakes Matt and tells him they need to get to the lab right away because Sebastian finally figured out the reversal formula. Linda also suggests they drive separately, keeping their relationship a secret from Sebastian. Matt hints that sooner or later, Sebastian will need to know, but Linda assures him she'll deal with it eventually. When they arrive, Matt heads straight to Isabel's cage to sedate the invisible gorilla. But before he can inject her, Isabel scratches him and escapes. While chasing her down the hall, Matt runs into Sebastian, who grabs a tranquilizer gun and throws in a playful $10 wager, claiming he'll be the one to catch her first. Matt fires a shot but misses, and Sebastian immediately follows up with a hit, knocking Isabel unconscious. Soon after, Dr. Sarah Kennedy, the team's veterinarian, storms in and confronts Sebastian for testing the formula on Isabel without proper trials. Sebastian insists that skipping tests will save time. Linda interrupts the argument, announcing that the lab is ready. Sarah prepares Isabel by spraying dye on her arms, while Matt gets the injection ready. But before he can proceed, Sebastian snatches the syringe, saying the honor should be his. As the serum flows through Isabel's veins and reaches her heart, the team watches in awe as her internal organs start to appear. But the gorilla thrashes violently as her vitals spike, soon going into cardiac arrest. The monitors flatline, and Linda shocks her multiple times with a defibrillator. With no response, Sebastian orders Matt to inject her heart directly, but before he can, Isabel's heartbeat returns on its own. Slowly, her body becomes visible again. The team celebrates the successful experiment by dining in a fancy restaurant. During a private moment, Sebastian brings up his past with Linda and hints at wanting to rekindle their relationship. But his hopes are crushed when Linda pulls away as he leans in for a kiss. Days later, Sebastian attends a Pentagon Oversight Committee meeting to report his progress. But to Linda and Matt's shock, Sebastian tells them he has been unsuccessful in reversing the invisibility procedure. In front of the committee, he claims the team is close to a breakthrough but still needs more time. Dr. Howard Kramer, Sebastian's former mentor, praises his brilliance and determination but warns him that the government won't hesitate to replace him if he doesn't deliver results soon. After the meeting, Sebastian confesses to Linda and Matt that he didn't want the military to know about their success. He fears the government would take control of the project the moment they learn the truth. Instead, Sebastian suggests pushing forward with human testing in secret. Matt reminds him that strict rules and protocols are in place, but Sebastian argues those rules will only hold them back. He insists that by keeping the project under their control, they'll have a better chance at winning the Nobel Prize. Back at the lab, Sebastian lies to the rest of the team, telling him the military approved human testing because he volunteered. When the team hesitates, he reassures them that they've already successfully brought back 7 apes in just 4 weeks, and human testing is the only logical next step to keep the project alive. According to Sebastian, he'll stay invisible for 3 days before attempting the reversal. On the day of the procedure, Matt warns Sebastian he can still back out, but Sebastian refuses, determined to become the first human subject of his own experiment. On the operating table, Sebastian takes the syringe from Linda, insisting he'll inject himself so she won't be blamed if anything goes wrong. The serum courses through his veins, and Sebastian immediately starts to twitch in pain as his skin begins fading from view. His vitals spike, and Carter Abbey, the team's EMT, rushes in with a defibrillator. Before they can shock him, Sebastian's heart stabilizes on its own, even though he's still writhing in agony. Moments later, he loses consciousness as his body completely turns invisible. 17 hours later, Sebastian finally wakes. The bright lights overwhelm him, and he begs Linda to turn him off, explaining he can't close his eyelids anymore. Linda points out that his eyelids are still there, just transparent, meaning he sees even when his eyes are closed. Sebastian rushes to a mirror, stunned to confirm he's truly invisible. He then joins Matt and Linda in the lab so the rest of the team can witness his transformation. Later, Linda tells Sebastian that one team member will always stay nearby in case he needs assistance, while the rest remain on standby within 30 minutes of the lab. Before leaving, she informs Sarah that Carter will cover the early shift, and she'll be back at 8 a.m. That night, while Sarah sleeps, Sebastian approaches her. He strokes her hair, checking if she's awake, then begins unbuttoning her shirt and touches her, inappropriately. When Sarah wakes, she notices her shirt undone and asks aloud if Sebastian is in the room. Glancing at the monitor, she sees he isn't in his bed, but Sebastian quickly slips back under the covers before she turns around. The next morning, Sarah confides in Linda and Matt, saying she suspects Sebastian did something while she was asleep. But she begs them not to confront him, admitting she isn't fully sure. When Matt questions Sebastian about leaving his room, he casually claims he just went out for coffee. 3 days after the procedure, the team prepares to bring Sebastian back. Matt injects the reversal serum, but moments later Sebastian begins breathing heavily and gasps that something is wrong. Sebastian suddenly thrashes violently on the operating table, breaking free from the straps. Matt and Carter rush to hold him down, but Sebastian still overpowers them, throwing Carter across the room and kicking Matt in the face. For a brief moment, his body becomes visible, before collapsing unconscious on the floor. When they drag him back onto the table, Linda discovers he has no pulse. Matt quickly performs CPR, and after tense moments, Sebastian's heartbeat returns, his body fading back into invisibility. Hours later, when he wakes, Linda warns him he almost died. Sebastian, however, insists on making adjustments so he can remain invisible longer. The team creates a latex mask to give him a face and some form of visibility inside the lab. Over the next few days, Matt works tirelessly to find a safe reversal method that won't kill Sebastian. But after 10 days stuck invisible, Sebastian grows restless and frustrated from endless tests and isolation. One night, while Carter is the only one on watch, Sebastian sneaks out of the lab. Carter tries to stop him but fails, and immediately calls the others to alert them. Out on the road, Sebastian amuses himself by terrifying 2 kids in a passing car, showing his hollow-looking eye sockets. Meanwhile, Linda and Matt split up. Matt heads back to the lab while Linda checks Sebastian's apartment. At his apartment, Sebastian notices his neighbor across the building changing clothes again. This time, he takes full advantage of his invisibility. He sneaks over to her building and rings her doorbell repeatedly. When she finally comes out to check, he slips inside. Watching her comb her hair, Sebastian moves a mirror to spook her, sending her looking around nervously. Then, as she turns away, Sebastian forces himself on her. Not long after, Linda arrives at Sebastian's place, where she finds his mask and clothes lying on the bed. Meanwhile, after finishing with his neighbor, Sebastian looks out the window and sees Linda inside his apartment. He waits until she leaves before returning home. Back at the lab, Frank Chase hands out tranquilizer guns to the team as they prepare to track down Sebastian. But Sebastian soon strolls back in, claiming he only went home to grab some things. Linda warns him sharply that if he leaves again, she'll report everything to the committee. Later, she tells Matt she's worried Sebastian's mind is deteriorating, pointing out he's been invisible far longer than any of the test animals. During another checkup, Sebastian casually admits to Carter that he messed with a woman while outside, and that he enjoyed it. Days later, Matt calls Linda, excited about a breakthrough, but the simulation at the lab collapses before they can finalize the process. Sebastian, frustrated, lashes out at Linda, saying his invisibility is useless if he can't truly enjoy it. He complains that he's become a prisoner inside the lab. Linda argues he isn't a prisoner, but Sebastian angrily points out that she can go out, live her life, and be with her boyfriend, while he's trapped. That night, Sebastian rigs the security camera in his room, installing a device that loops a fake video feed of himself sleeping peacefully in bed. Sebastian decides to sneak into Linda's apartment, where he discovers she's been secretly dating Matt. Just as the two are about to get intimate, Sebastian smashes the window beside the bed, startling them. Linda immediately calls the lab to check if Sebastian has escaped, but Frank assures her he's still in bed. Enraged with jealousy, Sebastian rushes back to the lab. While pacing the facility, he grows irritated by the barking of the invisible dog. In a violent rage, he grabs the animal and slams it repeatedly against the cage walls until it dies. When Sarah confronts him about the dog's death, Sebastian insists he was asleep when it happened. Reviewing the surveillance footage, the team concludes he never left his room, unaware he's been faking the feed. Later, while Linda works at home, she hears strange noises all around her apartment. Panicked, she runs to the lab to check. On the monitors, Sebastian appears to be lying in bed, but when she checks his room, it's empty. She realizes he's been running a video loop to fool them. Linda quickly calls the team back to the lab. Outside, Sebastian lurks in the parking lot, silently watching everyone arrive. Matt and Linda then visit Dr. Kramer to report Sebastian's actions, not knowing Sebastian has followed them. After they leave, Sebastian ambushes Kramer by the pool, drowning him. Kramer calls out for his wife, but by the time she arrives, he's already dead. The next day, when Linda tries calling Dr. Kramer, she learns he drowned the previous night. She attempts to contact another committee member, but the phone lines suddenly go dead. When she and Matt try leaving the lab, they discover the security system has revoked their access. As the team searches for Sebastian, Janice Walton lingers behind to grab thermal goggles. Sebastian seizes the moment, strangling her with an IV line. Her screams are drowned out by the noise of caged animals. Failing to reach Kramer, Linda announces over the intercom that the committee already knows about Sebastian. But Sebastian coldly reveals he killed Kramer before he could tell anyone. Soon, the team realizes Janice is missing. Using thermal goggles, they track her down and discover her lifeless body stuffed inside a locker. Linda urges Frank to restore their access codes so they can activate the motion detectors. When the sensors show movement in the corridors, Matt and Carter arm themselves with tranquilizer guns while Linda guides them. Carter spots heat signatures behind the pipes, but Matt realizes the heat is just coming from the vent. Suddenly, Sebastian ambushes Carter from above, grabbing him while hanging from a ceiling pipe. Matt fires, but his shot hits a pipe instead. In the chaos, Sebastian hurls Carter into a metal box, slashing a major artery and leaving him bleeding out. To outsmart their thermal goggles, Sebastian surrounds himself with the heat from the pipes. Matt, running out of tranquilizers, grabs a fire extinguisher. The smoke reveals Sebastian's outline, and Matt struggles to fight back. But Sebastian overpowers him with punches and kicks, knocking him down, until Linda rushes in and pulls Matt to safety. Meanwhile, Sarah tries to save Carter by retrieving blood bags from the walk-in fridge. But before she can return, Sebastian locks her inside. Thinking quickly, Sarah splashes blood across the floor to track his footsteps. She manages to throw blood directly on him, exposing his outline. But Sebastian tackles her, shoots her with a tranquilizer, and then, not satisfied with just knocking her out, he breaks her neck, killing her instantly. Carter soon dies from severe blood loss while Frank waits for Sarah to return. Leaving Carter's body behind, Frank joins Matt and Linda in searching for her. They discover Sarah's body in the walk-in fridge, but Sebastian suddenly emerges and stabs Frank with a crowbar. He then drives a metal bar into Matt's chest and locks both him and Linda inside the fridge. Afterward, Sebastian heads to his room, puts on his mask, and prepares to leave the lab. Inside the fridge, Linda quickly patches Matt's wound with duct tape and escapes by prying open the door using a magnetized drawer handle. She drags Matt out and lights a fire to keep him warm. Meanwhile, Sebastian collects chemicals to create a makeshift explosive, setting a 5-minute timer before heading for the elevator. But Linda intercepts him, unleashing flames with a flamethrower. She wedges herself in the elevator doorway, preventing it from closing, and continues blasting fire. Though engulfed, Sebastian peels away his burning clothes and vanishes once again. Linda then uses the last of the fuel to trigger the sprinklers. Sebastian sneaks up and overpowers her, but Matt intervenes, striking him with a crowbar. When Sebastian swings back, Matt deflects the blow, causing him to slam into a fuse box. Electricity surges through him, making his body briefly visible. While Matt and Linda discover the bomb Sebastian built, they rush to the elevator, climbing the ladder to escape. The bomb explodes, blasting the elevator upwards and injuring Linda's shoulder. It slams back down but halts just before crushing Matt. As they climb again, Sebastian drags Linda down. Both crash onto the dangling elevator, supported only by a thick wire. In their struggle, Sebastian steals a final kiss, mocking her with, "For old time's sake." But Linda grabs the wire and kicks the connector loose. She clings tightly as Sebastian plunges to his death down the shaft. Linda and Matt finally emerge from the burning facility, firefighters rushing to contain the blaze. Before turning invisible, Sebastian's arrogance and competitiveness were already unbearable, but the experiment magnified his darkest traits. He mistreated Sarah on the very first night. When the reversal procedure failed, his frustration grew, leading him to break protocol and leave the lab. Outside, he exploited his invisibility to assault his neighbor. His obsession with Linda spiraled further, fueled by jealousy when he learned about her relationship with Matt. In a fit of rage, he killed an innocent dog. But his most dangerous flaw was ambition. To protect his career, he murdered his mentor, Dr. Kramer, and plotted to eliminate the entire research team by blowing up the lab and erasing all traces of his crimes. If not for Linda and Matt, he would have succeeded. If you had the power to be invisible, would you use it for good, or for something else? Tell me in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss the next story.